give me a second, guys. I'm just sharing this. I'm just sharing this. Give me a second. The rigmarole that they do or whatever, whatever. I wanted to make sure that I go live, kind of cover this beforehand or whatever. And then particularly one particular female that goes, "If your name is shy, did it go?" You know, that one right there. So I wanted to make sure I got at this before they did. You know what I mean? So give me a second, guys. You always got to realize you're going to receive a little bit of hate in here or whatever. Somebody came in here, saw that I was live. Just to make sure I'll share this a couple more times. Give me a second, guys. I'm just plugging things up here. So, one of Diddy's attorneys quit today, or is attempting to quit. What I mean by that is they actually have to be approved by the judge to be able to quit actually representation. So now the question remains, well, why would they want to quit for his representation? And it could be a litany of things. But one thing that I don't like that everybody keeps circling and relating around is this particular little quote. Under no circumstances can I continue. Well, that could be a litany of different things. Under no circumstances can I continue. May not have been the best choice of words, but I will say when it's highlighted, which it was, under no circumstances can I continue. What exactly does that mean? Well, we won't know. You know why we won't know? Because it was filed in court and it has to be, it's a process to this. See, a lot of people don't understand this. So what the attorney attempted to do was here, he attempted to recluse himself from representation of the case, which means it could be for any other. Look, his dog could be ailing. You understand what I'm saying? He could have a sick mother. We don't know what's going on with this guy, but the guy said, under no circumstances can I continue. That would allude me on to something is so ritzed in him right now that doesn't have to do with this case, has to do with something else that it could be taken out of consideration, just like a lot of other things that happened. Remember before, it was a mandated what do you call it? Mandated suicide prevention procedure that they do in the prisons, especially federal prisons. Y'all say, put him on suicide watch. This man may have a litany of different reasons, which we won't know the reasons because they're inside the filing to the judge. So anyone that speculates or tells you, "Oh, I know what's going on," we got a couple new ones now that try to mix themselves in with us as they're in the know. These are the most interesting types. There's these types that are out there now that will make up lies, and they've actually got people that will back them up on their lies. So these are very dangerous people. The procedure here is the lawyer files with the court. The judge decides if there's enough reason for him to recluse himself from such case, and if he gives his permission to do so. If not, this gentleman would have to continue on as representation, as they call it. Like I said, there's nobody's called out why this gentleman wants to leave the case. He didn't even say if it was anything specifically with Pup, but I can guarantee you, I can guarantee you, the conspiracy T crowd is going to be up here in a little bit. You know, those people, those are some of the worst people in America. Those are anybody that's involved in that little T crowd or that little what do you call it? Truthers crowd and all that stuff. I don't trust any of those people anymore. They used to have some type of resonance, and that's what I point out a lot of times when I say people like Jordan Maxwell and even this guy at one time he had high relevance. Alex Jones, you know what I'm saying? All these guys at one time or another, they did these conspiracy theory things or whatever, but at that time they made more sense. This stuff right here, we've gone from conspiracy theories to pure speculation. And speculation is a dangerous weapon. See, when you use speculation, you can speculate and say, hey, well, this could happen, that can happen. Think about this could happen, that could happen, whatever the case may be. But I'm telling you what the procedure is here. Now, I want to read this off to you guys. And I want you to understand what you're reading and what you're hearing here. What's going on? So it says, and hard, bold words. And this is how they get you right here. This is how they stick you every time. Sometimes people don't even want to read the rest of it without seeing this right here, right? Sean Diddy Combs' lawyer quits sex trafficking case. Under no circumstances can I continue. Now, that's the quote and the petition that they chose to use. One of Sean Diddy Combs' defense attorneys quit disgraced music producer's criminal sex trial case, new court paper show. Anthony Rico filed a motion Thursday to just withdraw as one of Bad Boy Records' 6 defense lawyers without explanation. Rico's bid to step down won't be official until the judge signs off of it. I'm going to say this one more time. Rico's bid to step down won't be official until a judge signs off of it. A judge must find significant reason to approve such request. Let me read that for you for the slow kids in the back. Attorney Rico filed a motion Thursday to withdraw as one of the Bad Boy Records' 6 defense attorneys without explanation. I want to say that to you one more time. Without explanation. I want to say that to you one more time. Anthony Rico filed a motion Thursday to withdraw as one of Bad Boy Records' 6 defense attorneys without explanation. What? Without explanation. What? Without what? Explanation. Without explanation. He didn't explain why he was withdrawing. You understand what I'm saying? Which is even more of a query to me. Where did these choice of words come from? Rico's bid to step down won't be official until the judge signs off on it. I'll say that for you one more time. For the slow kids in the back, help them out with how the actual judicial system works offside of social media. Rico's bid to step down won't be official until the judge signs off on it. Rico's bid to step down won't be official until the judge signs off on it. Huh? Let me continue reading for you. Rico's bid to step down won't be official until a judge signs out on it. A judge must find significant reason to even approve such request. A judge must find significant reason to approve even such request. He hasn't walked away from anything until a judge approves it. What are we talking about here? Oh, I know it's going to be a litany of different fuckers that be online. They got to be like, ah, we got him again, girl. We got him again, girl. Let's see if anybody says anything different. Let's leave some room for interpretation here, shall we? Let's do that. Let's just be fair. Let's be fair. Because then you'll have, well, you only read that for one publication. David, yeah, I hate you. I hate you. Somebody let me know if that little airhead girl, she went live yet. You know how she do. If your name is Sean Diddy Combs, with that fucking lisp. Exclusive. 2 months before the trial starts, a sex trafficking trial that could see a man such as accused Sean Diddy Combs behind bars for the rest of his life. One of the I'll Be Missing You rapper's top lawyers wants out of the case. The request today by Anthony Rico to Judge Aaron Samarainen partially pulls the veil back of the defense team that is consumed with infighting and lack of focus, I'm told. So this might be something in between the lawyers fighting with each other. That's what it's more so pointing to, and it has nothing to do with Diddy. It sounds like to me it's more important to, because this is the first thing you say here. Pulls back our defense team that is consumed with infighting. They said the defense team is consumed with infighting. I want to say that for you. Team, the different lawyers here, which is 6 altogether, they all may not see eye to eye on everything. So when this man makes a sentence, it says, they take such a sentence from him. It says, I cannot under any means go ahead and continue with this, with this case. It might mean because he's arguing with these lawyers and they don't see eye to eye on anything. That's what it sounds like to me. You understand? It's become a real show. They're desperate not to go to trial. A well-positioned attorney told Deadline Mark Agnafilio and Tinny Garagelis led Combs' criminal trial defense. Look at the filings. They're throwing everything at the wall and praying to something sticks. That's what he says. Rico's move Friday for permission for withdrawal from Diddy's multi-claim case is thin on details and admittedly unorthodox in its way it is being conducted due to what the lawyer cites as protections afforded by attorney-client privilege. However, making a point of saying he is exiting respectfully but regrettably. Okay, he says he's exiting respectfully, but regrettably. Once again, which points at it seems like the lawyers are arguing with each other to me. Doesn't seem like this has nothing to do with Puff. As I continue, although we're only going off what we have available for us here. You understand what I'm saying? Now, after I get some little what's the names and things going, I'll give you an update. Although I provided Sean Combs with a high level of legal representation expected by the court, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs, consistent with the ABA standards of the criminal court, the justice system. Diddy's upcoming trial should not be delayed because of Rico's requested departure. So we know it's not going to be held up. Diddy's upcoming trial should not be delayed because of Rico's recent departure. The Bad Boy Records founder has been incarcerated in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center since September 16th arrest. Rico joined the pricey Mark Agnafilio, Tenny Gargulis, led Combs' defense team on September 22nd, repeatedly failing to get released on $50 million bail. Combs is set to go to trial on racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution charges starting May 5th. Spreading the wealth, so to speak. Combs sued NBC on February 12th for $100 million over what the rapper termed as an outrageous set of fresh lies and conspiracy theories, which they are, most of the stuff is, stemming from Peacock's Diddy making of a Bad Boy documentary. Just this week, mere days after the civil case accusing Combs and Jay-Z of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000 was dropped by now middle-aged Jane Doe, Combs' defense accused the turbulent U.S. defense attorney office of going after their client with racist laws because of a powerful black man. He's being persecuted for the conduct that regularly goes unpunished. The once Damian Williams ran SDNY has no comment on the claim. Now, I will say this. I do believe it is very ironic, and I said this in the last podcast. I just want to stop here for a second. I'm not the one to go around pointing like the whole racist thing or whatever. I grew up out here in the Connecticut area. Ain't nothing out here but Italians and Greeks. You understand what I'm saying? And Jewish people. So that's all we know. We go to restaurants, we party with them, we hang out with them, we go on their boats with them. This has been my life. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna front. Plus, between going to New York too. So it's a little mixture of both. With that said, I do believe there's a racial, for you not to say that there's not a racist apparatus to this, it's a deny what's going on in Cincinnati, Ohio right now, which I'm going to talk about that later, where they have video footage of a Cincinnati police officer being right kindly to some far right wingers that were getting ready to get their brains beat in by these black folks who were armed, And he helped them and obliged them to go back and pick up their dog that had been left back in all the community. I mean, literally, they stopped the van. They have a truck, like a truck, and it's just men inside the truck. Now, when I say this, I say this with this point. Those men went there to start trouble intentionally with them people down there in that little town of Cincinnati, Ohio. They went down there to march. They went down there to invoke fear. They went down there with premise and purpose. You cannot tell me if those men exist and a police officer was willing to oblige them, that you cannot tell me that there's no way in heck that we have a racial judicial system. Matter of fact, if you got a cousin, if you're black or you're Latino and you got a cousin, a family member, or friend that's locked up or whatever, I don't want to hear no more about, I need y'all prayers. Pray for my cousin Keith. I need y'all prayers. My cousin Shaquina, they got her down on a bit. Now, we ain't praying for them either. You understand me? We ain't praying for them. There's no sympathy for Shaquisha, Keisha, Paul, Mario. We ain't having no more. If we are now in the era where everybody believes that the justice system is justice only when it comes to favoring how they feel inside internally, then from this point on, I don't want to hear, I need y'all praying now for my cousin Keisha. She got done wrong by the local police station. I need y'all prayers right now. My cousin Rakim, he ain't doing nothing. I need y'all prayers right. I don't want to hear none of them posts. I don't want to hear none of that the police feel empathy for us, I don't want to hear none of that. Because you said openly to the rest of us, you believe in the judicial system and there is no racism. I don't want to hear no more black women talking about, oh, no, 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 no. They didn't want to hire me in this demographic because I'm a black woman. No, 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 no. You said everybody's the same. There is no racism. That's what you said. And that means gender bias racism too. You said there is no racism in the judicial system. You said there is no racism in the workforce. Right now, there's a young group of people out in California right now that are suing, attempting to sue the state of California because of their hiring practices and favorably hiring light-skinned Latinos, maybe I mentioned that, light-skinned Latinos over blacks or even black Latinos, because there's black Latinos that live out there too. Representando, tú sabes la gente. My point is, you know what I mean? The point I'm getting at is here. We see the same thing doppelgang here in the New York City tri-state area. You look around in the store, they always hire somebody light skinned. Look around in your area, they always hire somebody light skinned. Then they wonder why a nigga do crime. And if they're not hiring somebody light skinned, they're gender biased on their hiring practices, meaning they'll hire a woman before they'll hire a dude. Go into your local Starbucks, you'll see about no less than 8 to 10 women in there and 2 dudes at the most. And one of them dudes probably part of the LGBTQ community. I can't make this up. You understand what I'm saying? So if you gonna sit there and you gonna say, Puff pointing out the fact that there are now white podcasters, you understand what I'm saying? Such as old Captain Kangaroo Atwood, you know what I'm saying? Popcorn Barney Rubble Planet, and a couple of other ones, some worse than others. You understand what I'm saying? I will say this about Captain Kangaroo Atwood. At least Captain Kangaroo can be fair on some things sometimes. I will give him that. Now, let's continue the diatribe here. And one of the things I wanted to point out once again, if you're just now tuning in, we can just start this from the beginning because I see everybody getting in here. Exclusive. 2 months before the trial start of sex trafficking trial that could see the much accused Sean Diddy Combs behind bars for the rest of his life, one of the I'll Be Misused rapper's top lawyers wants out of the case. The request today, which is Friday, by Anthony Rico. Now, he's the black lawyer, if any of y'all don't know. There's a set of team of 6 people all together here, all right? Rico to Judge Aaron Sabramian partially pulls the bill back on the defense team and is consumed, and that it is assumed that it is consumed with infighting and lack of focus, as I'm told. Now, I want y'all to highlight that part right there. It's assumed that it is consumed with infighting and lack of focus. It is assumed that it is consumed with infighting and lack of focus. Where does that premise lie at? The 6 lawyers in control. Understand me? Each one being brought in for a different purpose. Just to let y'all know, I can give y'all that much. It becomes a real show, okay? They're desperate not to go to trial. A well-positioned attorney told Deadline of Mark Agnafilio and Tony Garages led Combs' criminal trial defense. Look at the filers. They're throwing everything at the wall and playing something sticks. Rico moved Friday for permission to withdraw from Diddy's multi-claims case in a thin line of details, meaning he didn't give any specific details. Guys, make sure y'all hit that like button. Over 65 of y'all in here. However, making a point of saying he is exiting respectfully, but regrettably. He's exiting respectfully, but regrettably. Let's underline that. He's exiting respectfully, but regrettably. First of all, you're showing respect to Puff, and you're saying, I regret having to leave, but all of us can't get along. That's what this is telling me. I don't know about y'all, but that's what it's telling me. It's telling me respectfully, but regretfully, even though I was one of the first here, I got to step off because I just can't get along with him, Puff. Best of luck to you, and I'm here if you need to call me. That's what the hell he's saying. Rico moved Friday for permission to withdraw from Diddy's multi-claims case and thin on details, and admittedly unorthodox in a way it is being conducted due to what the lawyer cites as protections afforded by attorney and client privilege. However, making a point of saying he is exiting respectfully but regrettably. The New York-based Rico declaration adds, Although I provided Sean Combs with high level of legal representation expected by a court, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs, consistent with the ABA standards for criminal justice. Diddy's upcoming trial should not be delayed because of Rico's requested departure, the lawyer says. Now, when he says he can't continue, what that's telling me is it has to do with in-house arguing. Now, this arguing doesn't just come up right now. It's not just recent. This arguing they had, this in-house arguing with the lawyers, goes back a little bit now. I remember back when I covered, I think it was either the third or the fourth arraignment. I was there in person. I knew when I covered the third or fourth arraignment or whatever, I remember that he not only passed me, Anthony Rico, he passed me, but I actually got a whole press conference thing from him. So I'm gonna post that up because I still got it. But what I will say, and I didn't know he was one of the lawyers at that time. That's the funny thing about it. It's a good thing I did record him when I was down there at the arraignment. This is the thing, and I want to say this very, very well. What I think you have here is, even back in that third or fourth arraignment, you had echoes, and I thought it was just because Law of Crime has stated it, and a couple other channels have stated there was some in-house arguing between these lawyers. You know, maybe didn't agree on everything, or maybe the strategies they didn't agree on, or maybe they didn't agree on, who said what or whatever. And I can see that. Because you got 6 different personalities all trying to come to one conclusion, which is the best way in the pilot to get there. You understand what I'm saying? So what I think, and I'll continue to say this, is I think what you have is when he says, I respectfully and regrettably want to recluse myself from this situation. What I think effectively what he's saying is, I need to leave this because we can't get along. And the way that I want, the vehicle I want to drive for the win, is not adding up to the vehicles that they're using to get to the same destination, or attempting to get to the same destination, respectfully enough. So I think that's where it went. And so, just like a lot of brothers are, all right, this is enough with y'all motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how it go. Some bros are like that. They're like, all right, this is enough. I can't do no more. And that's what he says when he says, I can no longer go along with this trial. So when you see that superseded on the screen, and people are like, oh, this is where it's going, they start giving their conspiracy theories, even though they live in Milwaukee, Ohio. I saw a dude the other night from Seattle, Washington. You know what I'm saying? Seattle, Washington. I don't think Puff's ever been out there unless he was performing. But Seattle, Washington, they're the creme de la creme when it comes to hip-hop and hip-hop history. Seattle, Washington. I done seen everything. Let's continue the diatribe here because I want to read some more for you. I don't want to leave anything out. Rico's move Friday for permission to withdraw for the Diddy multi-claims case is thin in details and admittedly unorthodox in the way it is being conducted due to what the lawyer cites as protections afforded by the attorney-client privilege. However, making a point of saying he is exiting respectfully but regrettably. The New York-based Rico declaration adds, although I provided Sean Combs with high level of legal representation expected by the court, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs, consistent with the ABA standards for the criminal justice system. Diddy's upcoming trial should not be delayed because of Rico's requested departure, the lawyer said. The Bad Boys Records founder has been incarcerated at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center since his September 16th arrest. Rico joined the pricey Mark Agnafilio and Tony Garagelis, led Combs' defense team on September 22nd as well. Repeatedly failing to get released on a $50 million bail, Combs is set to go to trial for racketeering, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution charges starting May the 5th. Spreading the wealth, so to speak. Combs sued NBC Universal on February 12th. You don't say. I wonder where he got that idea. For $100 million over what rappers' terms are an outrageous set of fresh lies and conspiracy theories. Yep, conspiracy theories. I hate them. Stemming from the Peacock Diddy making of a Bad Boy documentary. This week, mere days after the civil case accusing Combs and Jay-Z of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000 was dropped by a now middle-aged Jane Doe. Defense accused the turbulent U.S. Attorney's Office of going after their client with racist laws because he is a powerful black man and he is being prosecuted by conduct that regularly goes unpunished. Now, let me tell you what they mean by that. So, last year, no, 2 years ago now. And I'm gonna re-upload it because one of my persons that donates to me and supports me on this channel, she says she wants to see it. And I might go over there live. It depends. Um, Last year I went to a place. I went to two places. I went to Wall Street, the real Wall Street, right? And you got to hear this part so then it'll make sense about New York City law versus state law. A lot of people forget about state law and they just think law is universal. Law is not universal. Law is different in each separate state. Anybody that really knows the law knows this. So, and it doesn't deviate too much, but it's different in each single state. There's state laws. Some places even have constituencies. Individual constituencies have their own set of little bylaws and things like that. The smaller the state you go to, getting to Utah or something like that. So, with that said in mind, I went to Wall Street, and Wall Street is not just what y'all think of as the stock market and everything like that, the nucleus for that, the genesis for that. There was actually a wall built down this bitch, a big wall. And this wall went from what you would consider probably, I'm going to say anywhere from 20 to 24 blocks, maybe a little bit further. Maybe I even press it to go 26 blocks. But this is Wall Street, the actual Wall Street. And the remnants of the wall that used to be there are still there. It was made by plank wood and logs and mud and sediment of all different type or whatever. And they erected this wall. And this wall was set in purpose for two reasons: to keep the ravaged Negroes out, of which hymned at this Protestant church right up, like literally right in perpendicular of the wall. Right in perpendicular of the wall was the church, and there was the wall that was built. This is an actual wall. So when you hear Wall Street, it was actually a wall there. That's why they call it Wall Street. There's actually a commemorative plate there, but it's very hidden if you don't know what you're looking for. It's actually in the ground. That's why a lot of people don't even pay attention to it. They think it's some old World War tracks or something like that. No, this was actually Wall Street. And so they built this wall to keep out the Indians and the Negroes that might have come across and slaughtered the British soldiers. You know what I mean? And crazy as it sounds, this is what it was. You know, they didn't want them to do that. And so I say this to compliment this. At that same time, New York City and New York State built up a lot of legislation just for these moments, like what we're seeing built with the Wall Street being built. Even though this was a little bit before then, the laws that came a few decades later, not long, a few decades later after the insurrection of and erection of Wall Street, subsequently the laws that you saw come after that were enabled to keep a grip on the local Indians and niggers. And also the Mexicans at the time. Let's not forget them. Oh, they had their contribution. Listen, if you want to talk shit about anybody in this hemisphere that's Latino that you should respect, you gotta respect the Mexicans. Mexicans have been here since day one. The Spanish-American War. That's all I got to say. The Mexicans took in blacks that were running from the KKK, and there's still people down in Mexico right now that are remnants of that. Their DNA goes back to American slavery. If you didn't know that, you should go look it up. These are black Mexicans. A lot of people know this. You know what I mean? Then you have another set of Mexicans that are actually Indians. You understand what I'm saying? Like the remnants of the Mayans and the Aztecs, if you want to say. And then they're very dark and they get treated differently. Then you have your typical Spaniard now, which are usually offsets of biracial being mixed with the Indian and the Spaniards, and then you got remnants of Spaniards. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of people will look at a lot of Latinos and they'll say, you know, it's weird that you don't even know your Taino language or any other language, but you know Spanish, Eastern European language. Did you ever ask yourself why that is? You know what I'm saying? The others be like, no, I'm 100% Dominican. No, you're not. I'm 100% Cuban. No, you're not. There's no such thing. It's a subculture of a culture that was made up by colonizers. You're none of those things. A Puerto Rican's not a Puerto Rican. A Puerto Rican's a Taino Indian or Arawak Indian. A Mexican is not a Spaniard. A Mexican is more DNA-wise with an Aztec or a Mayan. You go into Brazil, there's a subject of Indians that live still, that are natural people there, that still live in the forest. Same thing with Peru. Same thing with Argentina. You'll go in there, you'll see these populations that's still there. They're still there. La gente pero la campos in Spanish. So what I say to you is this, right? When you see these laws put up in the late 1800s, early 1800s for some of them, and the whole representation of these laws is to prevent Negroes, Indians, and Mexicans. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? If not, explain to me the Spanish-American War. That's all I'll say. Explain to me the Alamo. If what I'm not saying is the truth, explain to me American history and be able to deviate from American history and prove yourself right. Anybody in the chat room want to argue? Anybody? Okay, cool. So with that being said, these provisions that they put up to keep the Indians and the blacks and the Mexicans of that day out were also the same premise on which they built some of these laws upon. You understand what I'm saying? If that's not the case, you wouldn't have the Civil Rights Bill. If that wasn't the case, you wouldn't have the Reconstruction period. If that wasn't the case, we wouldn't have the reason to apologize to the Chinese that we were holding in concentration camps right out of California. If that wasn't the case, we wouldn't be apologizing for the Alamo to the Mexican community. If that wasn't the case, then California and Arizona would still be Mexico. Y'all following what I'm saying here? Is anybody lost? Anybody? Okay, cool. So my point is, when you sit there and you now advocate for these same laws that were built, in fact, to stop you, your grandmother, your grandfather, that's the pinpoint of assimilation. You understand what I'm saying? I believe in a judicial system where it stands pivot in this America, that a person goes to trial, that person is convicted, not convicted, or whatever, and we've resolved with that. Later on, we might find out this person wasn't guilty at all, which I hope is not the case, because we've seen that with the Innocence Project here in Connecticut, right at Yale University. We've seen people up in this Hartford, Connecticut, locally, which is the state's capital. There were 3 to 4 men in the past 10 years that have been exonerated of the charges. I privy you to look it up for yourself. You'll see this. These men were all served 30, 40, 50 years, some of them black, some of them Latino. Not one of them was white, though. Not one of them was white. And that's not a racist statement. That's a real statement. Go look it up right now. The Innocence Project. Then after you look up the Innocence Project, looked up freed jail, what do you call it? Jail overturned convictions or whatever, for the state of Hartford, Connecticut. You'll see it. You'll see it for yourself. Man, that it hadn't even, you know what I'm saying? So the only thing I'm saying here is don't be so quick to get online and rally for this, and rally for that, and rally for this, and rally for that. And you don't even know what the fuck you're rallying for. Right now, there's people on there and they say, oh, well, Puff's lawyer quit. And he said he had no other choice. You know what that mean, girl? You know what that mean, dog? You know what that mean? Ooh, it's time to start gossiping, girl. You know what I'm saying? And think the worst of everything when clearly it states here, and as we're reading here, the man says, I don't even have to read it again. I've read it 4 times now. The man says, respectfully and regrettably, I have to recluse myself from this particular case, even though I've been his representation early on. Come, we got almost 150 people in here. Hit the like button, y'all. Double tap that screen, hit the like button. Y'all know nothing I'm saying is a lie. Which is scary too, which is real scary. You know what's scary is like a lot of these people know you're not lying. A lot of people know that you're dead and you're right. But what they will do is to combat that, they'll just sit there and be like, you know what? I gotta hate on them though. I gotta hate on them because it's not going in the direction I want to go to. You are one evil motherfucker if you think that way. And everything that's horrible in this world is going to happen to you sooner or later. That is a despicable way to live life. Make sure y'all double tap the screen, double tap the screen, double tap the screen. I'm trying to give y'all this good game before everybody else start getting out of order. Oh, Lordy. Hit. You know, it's gonna be 6.5 hour lives, 7 hour lives. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be talking about it all day because this is what a lot of these channels need. They need to talk about Puff to keep their numbers going. And without pup, they're nothing. I know a girl right now that doesn't even live in this country and is getting a crap load of donations from Americans to talk about another woman day to day on her show. It's amazing to me. They're intoxicated by the sleaze. Yeah, it seems like that's sincere. That's what's going on. I didn't even notice you at first. They're intoxicated by the sleaze. They're intoxicated by anything. The thing that's a problem with me is that once you, okay, so it's one thing if you got somebody dead ass, like, okay, for example, the Cassie tape. All right, you got it. You got it. You understand what I'm saying? We all see it. How am I going to defend that? You know what I mean? I make 2 videos off of it and say, hey, yo, listen, I can't deny this, pup, you was wrong. I say all that in the video, whatever. I'm not doing a third one. I'm not doing it. For what? What I need to do a third one for? I done told you that. Now, if you can't take that for what it is, the trial hasn't began yet. Now, only thing, and with things being like I told y'all back in January, I told y'all, and the only thing you got to do is go back and review it for yourself. Like these other people, they trying to do the same thing I told you. No, I really told them. And that's why I say it 3 or 4 times to remember that I told you. I told y'all back in January that Diddy stuff was going to slow up. Didn't I tell you that? I told you actually at the end of December, and I told you 2 more times in January. I said the Diddy stuff going to slow up. And everybody's like, oh, he don't know what he told about that. I said, yeah, I do. Guys, make sure y'all hit the Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80. You know, and so we move on. We move on and everything. And now y'all ain't got that much material no more. So now y'all just guessing things. You understand what I'm saying? Or they nitpicking or they looking for something. You can see that because now the diatribes that they used to have, they trying to extend into other things, but it's not working for them. And the reason it's not working for it because it ain't you. So that's the biggest part of this whole thing. It ain't you. There's a guy that goes over there sometimes to Captain Kangaroo Atwood's channel. I like this guy a lot. Respect this guy. He's a real New Yorker. His name is Lionel. Yeah, I like that guy. I like that fucker a lot. He's the type of guy I could go have a coffee with. You know that? Talk to him for like 2 or 3 hours. Not to get answers or pick his brains, just to have a conversation. Anyway, that guy, over a cup of coffee, I guarantee he would tell you one thing. He would tell you he knows how to sniff right through a fake fuck. You understand what I'm saying? And I know that he's seasoned, so I could tell it. I don't like fake fucks. I don't like people that ride and gloat on other people's demise. I think you're a sick person if you do stuff like that. You know, you're sitting there and you're applauding. I hope he goes down. These will be the same people 10 minutes later that are sitting there and they're like, please pray for my family. We need your prayers right now. You know, those people. Well, no, you don't deserve those prayers from people because you were wishing for somebody else's demise and you're not judge and jury. You know, so how about you put your Pitchfork up there, Ethel? You understand what I'm saying? Put your tiki lamps down, you know what I'm saying? And stop your search and see what happens for real. We're 2 months out from the trial. 2 months out. 2 months out, basically. By next week, it'll be March. So we're 2 weeks out, 2 months out. It's getting there. But the problem is you guys are not going to have an opportunity to do too much in between. Some guy in here, he said, I look like his left nutsack. So you go around all day thinking about dick. I got you. You go around all day thinking about dick. He's been on his 6 years, ain't got no subscribers. I got you. One of our fellow men in society that likes to come on. These boys, they love to come on my podcast and tell me how much they love schlong in their mouths. You got the most, I swear to God, you got the most moist batch of men in this generation I've ever seen in my life. Literally, it's crazy. Anyway, and we sit here and we continuously go on the fact of and pounce at the fact that every time you get a little bit of information, you want to divvy that information out and be like, yeah, let's throw a negative connotation on it because it's that guy. But you're holding yourself back from doing that and I'm going to keep on repeating it, to the guy from Abercrombie & Fitch, to Harvey Weinstein, to Epstein, to anybody else. You'll never see those 4 people that I mentioned on these urban channels. Do you notice that? You'll never mention Weinstein, Epstein, the dude from Abercrombie and Fitch, the three brothers right now that are being held for multiple sexual assaults that were real estate agents out of New York and they caught them in Florida. You will never hear none of these people on a regular rotation on any of these urban stations or these T stations. Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Why is there superseding interest? And this is why I said what Puff's admission to the court makes sense. Why is it centered in on, and everybody's centered in on one thing, the black people involved, but nobody's centered in on the white players. Luigi Mangione, I just explained to y'all today, this motherfucker shot a nigga in public. Okay? I went there on scene the day it happened. The video was still up here. Just put in his name and put in my name together. The video will come up. I was there live and I went back into the segment. You can't tell me nothing. I was there. You understand? I had people from major media walk over to me and ask me, where did the body actually hit? And I pointed out to them where the body hit it. You'll hear me on that on camera. So it's no confusion. I don't do fake. You know what I mean? It ain't my thing. So this is my thing with that all being a ball. Luigi Mangione has been able to raise $500,000. $500,000 and nobody said nothing about that in the urban world whatsoever. None of the T community, nothing. I'm going to say to you one more time. Luigi Mangione. He went to court today. I could have been there if I wanted to, but I knew it was going to be a brief hearing because I know how these things go now. You know what I'm saying? And just like I said, and they wrote in parentheses, brief hearing. I said, yeah, you don't say. And I said, I did a 2.5 hour live, right? So he hadn't even shown up to the courthouse yet when I started my live. So that's how much I can tell you if you pay, you know, whatever. Anyway, long story short, what I was saying to you guys was this guy was able to raise $500,000 for his defense fund. Many of the people that were donating to him were black and white Americans specifically. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of people thought that the Latino community was going to donate to him. They didn't. Most of the people that donated to him was black and white people. $40 here, $60 here, da 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 da. And I'm thinking to myself, this nigga killed somebody. It's on camera. Like, you know, like niggas get shot every day, B. You know what I'm saying? But like, this is my point. Like the nigga shot somebody on camera, son, and the whole world saw it. And these motherfuckers were so happy that this man shot a man that they don't know nothing about, but only because of the company he represented. You understand what I'm saying? They were so glad that he was dead that they said, let's give this man a reward and pass over $500,000 to him. What the fuck is America turned into? That woke shit made y'all lose y'all fucking mind. I'm going to repeat that to you one more time. As many of y'all know, put my name in, and then behind my name, put in Luigi Mangione's name. You're going to have 2 videos that pop up of me being on location the day that the shit happened. You understand what I'm saying? Don't worry, kids. I got y'all. He went to court today. I went live, and before at the top of my live, if you go to my live, you will hear me say, hey, Roxy, you will hear me say, yo, I could have been there, but it's going to be a brief hearing today. I already know. So it's a waste of time to go down there because he's going to be in and out. This is pre-preliminary shit. This is only his second time in court. So I know by that procedure, it was going to be quick. You understand what I'm saying? So I said, why even waste my fucking time? So I let that go. Good thing I did, because if I would have been paying attention to that, I would have totally missed that Big's mom died today. R.I.P. to Valletta Wallace once again. R.I.P. to Valletta Wallace one time. So I just, you know, things happen for a reason. Anyway, let me continue, because that still bothers me. Valletta Wallace died today, man. Biggie's mom died today. A lot of people ain't going to keep up to what I'm saying here, but I'll give you this. That woke shit changed the mentality of a lot of African Americans and made them people, in my opinion, that have become a simulist. Your voice and the way your octaves and the way you talk and present yourself are those are simulist. And assimilation can be a good thing, but assimilation can be a bad thing when it's depending on the premise behind the people who was partaking in it. Meaning, like if you got a whole bunch of socialists or a whole bunch of people that are anti this, anti that, participating to one particular project or whatever the case may be. Yes, ma'am. You know what I mean? Rest of the peace to her. It becomes a problem because then what you start building is a tribalistic mentality. And that's what you're seeing online here. And that's what you're seeing in particular with Puff and Diddy and Puff and Jay-Z and all this shit. You're seeing a tribalist mentality of people from all different types of backgrounds, white, black, polka dot, or whatever. And they're not saying what their heart of hearts really should be saying. It's not the fact that I don't give a fuck about them girls. I just want to see a nigga lose it all and be in jail. Because there's some white men, and I hate to say this is the ultimate get off for them right now. We can get a nigger. Now, if you don't believe me, doing Black History Month, ain't this funny? Doing Black History Month. If you don't believe me, just take a look at some of the old pictures in history that we have of them flogging niggas, of them hanging niggas, mega evers. You understand what I'm saying? And ask yourself once again, how do I look in Black History Month promoting for a judicial system that has done blacks and Latinos wrong since the days and inceptions of this fucking country as them as citizens? Huh? And y'all motherfucker, yeah, get that goddamn Puff. Y'all sound like some fucking black KKK members. The majority of. Have you heard that resonating in a lot of these people's voice? A lot of these black people that are speaking nowadays, if you listen to their voice, not only do they sound like pure assimilates, but they don't even sound like assimilates that were made. They sound like voluntarily signing up for be assimilated. You understand what I'm saying? And like a lot of people, they're going to log out. They're going to say, oh, no, you taking up a pump. It's not about taking up a pump. It's what your perception is in society. And you just don't see it. And it's sad. It's sad, man. It's sad. A lot of people do things and never realize how they're perceived. See, the perception of you, especially as a class, gender, race, whatever, is very important. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of people won't understand that. That's why a lot of people don't dig what I say here. They don't look at it as the long term, how it affects you. They don't want to think about that. They're thinking about the instantaneous high. See, this came with you being able to use Grubhub during the pandemic and shit like that. Instantaneous gratification. Now, I'm not talking about instantaneous gratification. I'm talking about the long haul. The long haul is if you sitting on a bandwagon and you vocally on every day online, talking about, I hope them niggas go to jail. I hope them niggas go to jail. I hope them niggas go to jail. You thinking, oh, I'm doing the right thing because I'm simulating. This is what people want to see. My people, my job, they want to see this. My family wants to see me get behind this. All my subscribers want to see me get behind this, right? That's your attitude, right? And so, boom. You got a son, your son right now is about 6, 7 years old, whatever, 10 years past. Now he's 17, 18, right? Now he's being accused of the same shit that maybe Puff was accused of. Maybe by now Puff got off. Maybe Puff is still in jail. Who knows, right? But now it's your son. Are you going to have that same vigor? You know what I'm saying? No, that motherfucker's guilty. Should we all start a campaign? No, your son's guilty. And you just like, no, not my son. My son, we don't want to hear shit from you. We don't want to hear shit from you. See, that's how that go. We don't want to hear shit from you. See how quickly that changes? It's all good until it's you. It's all good until it's you. Then when it's you, we need y'all to pray for my family. We need you to pray for our family. That's y'all. See, that's why I stopped and I started getting back on the terms with myself and the reality of what the world is nowadays. It is not a step beyond in the reach for Puff to sit around and test to the court. Yes, I think there's a racial epithet behind this. There's a heavy racial epithet behind this. I've caught motherfuckers from India, Pakistan, all kind of people in languages I can't even fucking begin to pronounce, talking about Diddy, but they ain't talking about Epstein. They ain't talking about the Abercrombie and Fitch nigga. They ain't talking about Harvey Weinstein. They ain't talking about none of these other white people because of that reason. They're white. So it doesn't matter what they do or whatever the case may be. Listen, go look right now at white male mass shooters for 2024. Tell me what you come up with. But yeah, the nigga will present to you an argument and say, well, niggas are more violent than white people. How? When white male mass shooter is a term used here in the United States. The white male mass shooter has a psychosis that they have behind it, or why they individually do what they do. They have a criminal, the DOJ created a criminal profile off these motherfuckers. Huh? Now, typically speaking, the average black and Latin nigga, they'll go shoot a nigga. Yes, don't get me wrong. But they go shoot a motherfucker they got a problem with. 9 times out of 10, or it's an argument at the store, somebody accidentally get hit. We all hate those stories, but they happen. They also happen in white communities. This is the difference. When you have these white male mass shooters, and maybe may I add to the diatribe here, which were pinpointed and put on a list by the DOJ under the first Trump administration, right? First Trump administration. Bravo for Trump for doing that shit. He updated that list with all the motherfuckers. Go look up on the Department of Justice website, white male mass shootings for 2023 and 24. Go ahead. These motherfuckers were shooting up shit during the pandemic when we was locked down. There was one motherfucker I did a story on up in upstate New York and Buffalo who sat with the niggas. This was a white boy. He was 19, 18, something like that. He was from one of the neighboring towns of Pennsylvania, and he drove into this upstate New York Buffalo town, and he sat with the people at a local grocery store the day before he committed his atrocity. Within there, he killed an 81-year-old black woman who was a grandmother 2 times over, who fed homeless people in the community for the past 25 years. He killed her. I don't even know, even if you was at your angriest, you kill a 80-something-year-old woman to feed the homeless. And then the niggas with their weak asses came outside the store. There's 2 black cops standing outside, and they just arrest this nigga instead of shooting him. Y'all should have ended that nigga on sight. Yeah, I said it. Y'all should have ended that nigga on sight. Because if his name would have been Tyrone or his name would have been Mario, y'all would have shot him right then and there. You would have got rid of him. Would have been no trial. Would have been no, he has to go. He's a threat. If you would have had a higher source than the local police agencies that came in there, like the FBI, CIA, people like that, they would have took him out. There's a town right now in Alabama that the whole goddamn police station, okay, the whole fucking police station except for 4 officers is involved in a corruption investigation. And the corruption investigation that they're having in this small little town in Alabama, they won't even include the FBI or the CIA in the investigation. And that's the main problem right there. Anytime you have internal corruption of at least 2 to 3 to 4 officers, automatically from now it should be an ID that they call in the CIA or the FBI to investigate these crooked motherfuckers. Because why? You'll say, well, the system of criminality continues with the criminals. No, the system of criminality continues with what the police ignore and won't intercede with. That's where the continuation of fucking criminality comes from. Case in example, you put 10 cops outside in Times Square, right? And you give them directives to put their focus on any motherfucker that's walking around wacko or crazy or clicking like or some shit like that. You give them directed to put their attention on people like that instead of putting their attention on fucking subway evaders, instead of building fucking shields for subway evaders. You'll have enough money to get what you want off the ground. You won't even have to put that dumb shit up. You won't even have to worry about a motherfucker because niggas are coming back to the city. You understand what I'm saying? People are scared to come into Times Square nowadays, if you guys don't know that. And most of the time, a lot of the times, it looks like a fucking ghost town, especially now because it's wintertime. When it warms up, it'll go back to the same. But right now, wintertime, New York City ain't popping like it usually be popping. There's a lot of violence going on. A lot of people are scared. People's getting popped here and there and the other and wherever. Hear me out. With that being said, it's funny because a lot of the times when we have these people that are out there, they won't acknowledge the fact that, well, there's also white people that are doing the same thing. I'll give you an example. There was a white gentleman down 23rd Street, many of y'all, no, excuse me, 14th Street, many of y'all remember this. And this dude had a fucking sword and was chopping motherfuckers. This is motherfucking clown. This a few weeks ago. Killed a woman. There were people pushing people off the subway platform. You understand what I'm saying? This is shit that happens in the city all the fucking time, but there's never a highlight put on that. Instead, they put a highlight on the black and Latin kids that were selling some crack or some shit, or they got into a little skedaffle. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker got hit with a bottle or something like that. They put emphasis on that. No. If you want to control crime and get the city back to where they fear you, because that's what you're really going after. You're trying to see. This is the thing too that a lot of police officers make the punk ass move with, and I hate this shit. You usually get it from rookies. The experienced cops don't do shit like this, but the rookies do. They want to go after soft targets. They don't want to go after the hard targets. See, if you want change, you got to go after the hard targets. You're going after some kid that's running his mouth and, playing some music loud or, whatever the fuck they doing, being loud on the corner. You don't go after the real targets, the motherfuckers that got the hoodies over their head, sitting on the corner. I've seen motherfucking cops. I've been like, yo, you ain't gonna do nothing about that? Well, he hasn't bothered anybody yet. But y'all go out of y'all way to bother one of these 15 and 16-year-olds. I find that shit real punkish. You understand? I find that shit real sore. Now, if you ain't gonna put consideration and put energy into going after those people, but you trying to sit up here and describe to everybody in the fucking world that all the problems of the world are coming from immigrants and niggas, I'm sorry, we're going to have to beg to differ. So, yeah, I do think there's a racial epithet going on with Diddy. I think he had more than enough reason to file that under with Mark Agnifilio, and I think it makes sense. I see a lot of white podcasters from Scotland and everywhere else acting like they know what's going on with pups. Some of these people are not even privy to American law and they're giving their opinions. They don't even know how the American justice system operates, but they're giving their opinions. I refuse to take the opinion of American matters from somebody that lives in Canada, no more than they should take an American's ideas of what we think about Canada or Britain or Scotland or Australia. But that's the way that a lot of these people, they challenge us. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not all about joining in the conversation. What it really is about is an ulterior motive, which is, in my opinion, showing that you're better than us socially when you're not. Oh, there's motherfuckers over in Britain right now. Oh, don't tell me nothing about Britain. I got a homegirl live in Britain. I know real good. And her sons will muck you up. Trust me. They're a real bad mind. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because their dad is a Jamaican guy. You understand what I'm saying? So you'll think you're dealing with some kids that look there because they look more Turkish and Italian than they look anything. Oh, they'll mush you up. Oh, they'll do terrible things. They went to jail for it, don't you know? But with knives. They're good with knives, I hear, over there. And so you've had so many people over there in England get stabbed up with knives and carved up like fucking, pumpkins and shit lately. It's ridiculous, And that's one of their tragedies over there. Another one of their tragedies is for decades upon decades, they've had this echo over and over and over and over and over again of motherfucking sexual assaults and abuse, mostly of children and women. You understand? Of young age. Children, women, and some type of weird, it's always this weird synergy between some type of paganism or witchcraft or something like that I've seen in a lot of these stories. I'm doing more and more research on it and uncovering it. Scotland's another one. A lot of abuse there, especially in the country areas, in the outlying areas. You have a lot of reports of incest and all kinds of nasty shit. So really what you get when you get a lot of these podcasters from these locales, what they're really trying to do is they're trying to challenge Americans. They're trying to say, hey, I know we're a shitty bunch, but we're not as shitty as you guys, and we're better than you. It's kind of like going to school the first day. You see the guy that's, the school bully or something like that or whatever. He comes try to punk you first. You know what I'm saying? And you duff them. You know what I mean? That's basically what it is. And so you get a lot of these people, in my personal opinion, I'm just saying my personal opinion, I ain't calling nobody trash or nothing like that in particularly or specifically. But I will say this, like a lot of them, they go apart the path of going a little bit too far sometimes. And it becomes unbelievable, you know? And it's believable to your demographic and the people listening to you because they're on your side of the pond. But for people that know the reality, how much do you know about American law outside of you regurgitating articles that you read? And how far could you go off with giving your own freestyle of what you think the totality of the question is about the conversation that's actually at hand? What's ultimately going to happen to Puff? You understand what I'm saying? And are you really challenging me, or people just not bringing and using the same tactics that you've used against Black Americans? If you don't understand what I mean, the next time a motherfucker come to you and say some shit like this, right? Listen to me. Next time somebody white or whatever culture come up to you and say some shit like this, well, how do you feel about so many Black people being in jail? I'll be like, I don't know. Well, how do you feel about being behind the demographics? Because the demographics I got from the Department of Justice show there's more white people in jail nowadays. Well, how do you feel about Black people committing so much violence? Well, from the demographics I got, it would say that white male mass shooters are a little bit more of a problem in this country than I am individually. I mean, I'm only shooting niggas in the hood. If you don't live in the hood, you're not at risk, right? How do you feel about all these Black men being brought up for sexual allegations? Because that's what's going to be the next one. Trust me on that one. They're trying to create an environment where not only niggas are never going to be rich again, where women are not going to want to date Black men again. And they're going to get Black women to help them along with it. Even the Black women, they won't want to date the men. And within 20 to 30 years, you won't have anything as their original let's go to mama and this picnic crowd anymore. They're trying to basically blend you out. Can't get rid of you legally, because if they get rid of you legally, it'd be something different. I mean, illegally, excuse me. So they want to get rid of you legally. So what's the way to do it? Well, we'll make them hate each other to the point they won't even want to breed with each other. We'll have the women believe they could do better with a white man, no matter what brown culture they are. They're Latin, Indian, Chinese, whatever. We're going to all divert them to dating white men. We'll have control over everybody because everybody have a white genome. They all come from a white one, at least one parent, and that parent will be the authority to figure in the situation. We'll have them all thinking white within a minute. Soon enough, we'll have a hive mind. There will be no cultural separations. Cultural separations is the center here. Somebody else tried to do this one time. What was his name? Hitler. Y'all have a good evening.